Now that's how it's done right there.
All right, so check this out, guys. Before this video gets started, I do want to mention that we just restocked on our Goon Squad Simply Built t-shirts. These suckers are super fire. Of course, you got the gold flake in them right there, which makes them even more legit. And also, these things went super quick last time. So if you want to copy one and help support your boys, be sure to visit goonzquad.com. But as right now, let's get to the video. It's gonna be pretty tough because if you cut off one section, it's gonna want to fold like a taco. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we are here at the original Goon Squad garage, and today we're gonna continue working on our 67 Chevrolet Camaro SS. And as you guys seen in the previous video, we basically yanked out this whole entire junkyard engine and transmission out of this area and tried to prepare it for our brand new LT4 engine from that 2018 donor car that we purchased. And we got it nice and clean over here. Cleaned up this firewall right here. Cleaned up this whole entire frame area. Got it nice and painted up. Almost ready to be swapped in here. But as you guys know, this is our very first engine swap. So we're pretty new to this game. And we noticed that we actually got to order a bunch of stuff before that engine can just get pulled out of there and propped in here. So what's the very first thing that we need to order?
Dude, the very first thing is some special engine mounts for this thing. So that's a Gen 5 LT engine. So it's a lot different from like a regular LS motor.
Yes, sir. The LS is a little bit more simple, but I think that engine is going to be so much better. It's supercharged and it's 650 horsepower, 650 torque. It's just going to be unreal. And of course, we need a transmission cross member as well, and a few other little things.
It's like an oil pan. It needs a special oil pan that'll clear that bottom subframe right there, and a bunch of other little nitpicking things that you need to make this whole entire process a lot smoother.
Yes, sir. So we're going to go ahead and actually order all this stuff, and in the meantime, what we're going to probably focus on is actually all the damaged parts. So as you guys know, this thing was involved in a pretty nasty collision, so we got a good bit of like framework that we got to do. So we're gonna get started with that probably today. But the very first thing that we want to do right now is actually figure out why this thing won't like spin freely. I think the rear axle is like either seized up. Maybe it's something simple as like the caliper's seized up or something. So we want to figure that out first. Then we're probably gonna roll this sucker outside, and what are we gonna grab? The excavator and the skid steer, start pulling some framework?
Hey, we can possibly do whatever we can. I mean, honestly, the first thing we need to do is basically unbox all of our parts. That way we can see what we have and what we can get started with.
We're gonna see what we're working with. So I say we go ahead, try to free this thing up, roll it out, and then we're gonna start opening up all of our parts. Alright guys, so we are figuring out a few things here and there. First thing, we got this axle broke free, man.
It's spinning smooth. I mean, it feels like a really good axle. As you can tell, it's locked, so this thing has probably been a good burnout machine right here. A drag car. I mean, that's probably how this axle comes. It's just locked, man.
That's probably how this thing lost control and wrecked, dude.
Could have been. If it's rainy, you don't want to drive one of these cars right here. Hey, unless you got some really good tires, dude.
This is only for dry conditions right here. Just a little weekend warrior.
Weekend warrior right here. But dude, the main thing that was holding this axle back was the brake calipers. These suckers, I don't know what's the deal with these brake calipers. We had an issue with the front ones. They were actually touching the rotors, but the rear ones over here, they're all messed up. The bolts were too long. I believe they were even touching the rotors here as well. And also there was a bunch of copper you can call these fittings right here because they fit perfectly in there. I don't know what
that's copper tubing right there.
This is weird, man. I've never seen anything like this. I guess he was running out of brake pads and he made his own right here. But you know what? We're gonna scrap this stuff and put it in the pocket.
Scrap that, man. That's a souvenir, a classic car souvenir,
hey,
dude.
This is classic car stuff stuff right here that you see probably.
Hey, that could be a brake hack. What if copper makes your brakes stop on a dime, dude?
Anybody want some brake copper? But that's pretty much it. They're definitely gonna have to get new ones in the back. If we're gonna get new ones in the front, we'll probably swap these out. I mean, these are really good brakes. These are billet aluminum. I think these are made for drag racing right here. And I mean, I just don't know. They're probably just worn out or something shot or something like that.
Yeah, we'll go with something a little bit better, I think, because I'd like to just have a brand new setup. But as far as the axle itself, you feel that little right there, that little play? You think that's normal?
I think that's normal since it's locked, but the only thing that I'm noticing is there's a lot of fluid right here, so I'm sure both of the seals on either end are shot, so we'll probably replace those seals. And I noticed there was a crack right here, so there's a bolt missing on top of this diff cover, and there's a little hairline crack there, so we may even end up getting a new diff cover, or we can pop this diff cover off and see what's going on in there. Like, what kind of axle is this? I don't know nothing about it. There's the brand of it, MOSER.
That's probably just the brand of this cap right here, but I'm wondering what kind of gear ratio we're working with internally there.
I don't know. I mean, don't we have to set up like a gear ratio for like the engine or what we're planning on doing with this thing? This could be set up for like strictly drag racing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what you set it up for, because it's not like it's an all-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive vehicle. You just build what you want back here and
we want to set it up for mainly
popping wheelies.
We want to mainly set it up for street racing, you know?
Sir.
Not street racing, just street
driving.
Street driving.
Street
just
performance,
a good daily driver right here. So we're going to do a street performance build right here. So, I mean, axle, I don't know. We'll probably get a new one. If not, we'll just reuse this one, build it differently, do different gear ratios. Exhaust, we pop that complete sucker off right here. We might even end up getting a new one because the previous owner didn't even use any exhaust clamps. Just welded the whole thing up, which there's a lot of like holes that you can tell the exhaust leaks happen. And I don't know, maybe he used the clamps on something else and didn't have enough for the exhaust. So we had to cut one end off to replace this thing. But you know what? That can go in the scrap pile. We'll get a new one.
We might even go with like a Corsa or something, maybe a different brand, but who knows? Yeah, this is actually made for like these 67 Camaros.
Yeah.
But hey, look, this dude ran out of clamps. He ran out of brake pads.
Ran out of all types. Ran out of the whole car, man. The whole car is just missing a bunch of stuff.
This thing was not safe at all, dude.
That's what I'm saying. With this stuff on the road, maybe this was like a last minute thing. Whenever he was at the drag strip, he wanted to throw these in here. That way he can brake. You know, one last race.
One last run, man.
And also, I did notice something on these brake lines right here. It says for off-road use only. I don't know if it's the brake lines or the brakes themselves, because I believe these are maybe just strictly for drag racing, not DOT approved.
You get pulled over, man, I'm telling you, they're going to take your brakes.
Take your brakes off, roll it home.
Roll it home, man. But anyways, what are we doing next?
Right now, we can go ahead and throw the wheels back on this car, drop it down, roll it outside, bring in all of our parts, and start cracking some of this stuff open.
Broke free, man. This thing is like a free bird right here, ready to hit the drag strip just about, man. I'm telling you, it's gonna be fast, man.
Dude, that's all it needs is just a little few parts up front, a $20 part, and that's it,
That's
man.
right, and this thing is gonna be flying through the sky, but we ended up actually fixing this wheel right here. It's still currently leaking a little bit, but you know what? We'll air it up when we have to roll it around. And this is actually aluminum, which is the crazy part because it's chrome and it's super heavy. It feels like steel, but I'm guessing it's just an aluminum wheel coated with some sort of chrome technology.
Yeah, definitely. I think the chrome is made out of like some steel stuff, so the magnet will stick to it, but very lightly.
And also there is something that we got to clear up. Yeah, I remember when we first got this thing, we were calling these Fousey wheels right here. This is actually Chip Foose, man. He built some sick classic cars, so these are some pretty sick wheels. They're not crazy expensive, around $1,200 for a whole entire set, but we're definitely gonna go with probably something a little bit different. I think a little bit more spokes, possibly like that Sentra right there.
Yeah, I mean, these might fit. We might just swap them onto here for now, dude.
Yeah, we're still gonna be looking for stuff like that, but anyways, I think it is finally time. We're gonna go ahead and collect all of our parts. They're like all over the property right here. We're gonna probably bring him in, maybe in that area right there, start cracking stuff open and see what we got. Alrighty guys, so we just cracked open all of our parts, and this right here is everything that we need to rebuild this 67 Camaro. And the crazy thing is we ordered all this stuff off of eBay and it came in pretty quick within like 2 weeks. So we're just gonna go ahead and start with the first part that we see up front here. This is just basically like a cowl assembly piece right here. This is a Taiwan part, but I mean, I think it should fit up perfectly.
Dude,
right
it
there.
looks OEM to me, and that's all we need right there,
Yep.
dude. Look at that, dude.
That should be a pretty simple repair right there, but we are gonna have to pull it out a little bit before we actually get at all the spot welds.
Yeah, or you can honestly probably just undrill this stuff and cut it out, and then place like a new piece on there. And because I was looking at some of this stuff, and honestly, once you pop it out, you can just straighten out some of the tips that it connects to.
Yeah, but I guess it's just gonna come down to just digging right into it and seeing how it goes from there. This piece right here is actually an infrastructure piece for this quarter panel, and look at how cool this is right here. This is basically the interior right here, so we're gonna have to paint that a nice high gloss just to match the rest of the interior, probably the same exact color of the exterior of the car. That's gonna be a fun piece right there. That looks like it needs a bunch of drilling, a bunch of cutting, and a bunch of welding, dude.
Oh yeah, dude, all these pieces are looking crazy. It looks like we're over here at a GM like parts store or something like that, dude.
Speaking about GM, some of these parts are actually GM direct, like restoration parts. This quarter panel right here had the GM logo on it and everything, and it's kind of weird because this looks like it's made for a coupe, but on the listing or on the description it is made for, or this looks like it's made for a convertible.
But this is actually how they splice quarter panels in. They leave that little flap there.
And these parts are heavy.
Yeah, dude, that's what I was thinking about, dude. Those things are some thick metal right there, which is a good thing because they're durable. But dude, it just to show, dude, cars back in the day, man,
they built different, man.
They built different.
They were built a lot tougher because I noticed that this thing has a lot of body or bondo on it, or body work, whatever you want to call it. That means that, like, you know, usually you just fix these panels instead of completely replacing them. Like with newer vehicles, if it's a little bit damaged, you just replace it.
Yeah, so these older vehicles, that's probably one of the main reasons why you always see body work on them, because they always get repaired because they're such a thick metal. You can just weld a stud to it and pull out the dent and stuff.
But what we're gonna splice it in probably like right here, and then what about on this? I just splice it into the really
we may splice the top of the quarter panel. We're probably just gonna use that over there. And as for the rear end, as you guys can tell, it's all smooth. So somebody like just smoothed that out and did some body work. This one, it goes like this. So it looks like we're gonna have to like clean some of this up and find where the original like splice section is and put that one right there.
Figure that out, no problem. But moving right along over here, we got a door, a brand new non-oceanized door right here. This door on this side is a little bit wavy. It looks like you can surf it,
dude. This thing is smooth, dude. Man. All the body panels are smooth, no dents, dude.
I'm surprised because I mean some of these are not original or GM parts or anything. So I mean I think it's gonna work just fine.
Dude,
it's gonna look nice.
Just perfect, man.
Moving along over here, we got this front fender, smooth as well. I mean it don't get no better than that. And then moving right along after that fender, we got the inner fender. This is not your ordinary vehicle fender, inner fender right here. This is a full metal one.
Hey, this is back in the day fender right here. Full metal jacket, dude.
And then last but not least, we got a piece over here. This right here is the inner structure. Let's walk over
here.
No,
this is like the pillar, the outer structure of the
right?
pillar, yeah.
This is going to be a tough one, man. So on this car, I believe there's just only an inner and outer structure piece.
I think that's inner and outer, what you're holding right there. Like, that's the whole thing, dude. It's pretty cool because it makes it a lot simpler, but that's what we're going to do. We're probably going to end up drilling some of this stuff out right here and just splicing that sucker in there, dude. This is going to
be fun, dude. So basically, we're ready for it. We're ready to start installing all these parts or just cutting at this car right here. And the crazy thing about this car is it's a unibody, so it's going to be pretty tough because if you cut off one section, it's going to want to fold like a taco, man.
Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully it's just going to be sitting on all these four wheels and tires and it's not going to go anywhere. It's not. I think it's all bolted down and stuff like that.
So that means we are going to probably go ahead and have to cut out the front and the rear glass, which that's going to be really next. That way we can just keep on moving with this stuff. But before we actually just dive right in, what we want to do right now is actually give you guys a commercial property update because we had some pretty epic things going on over there. We just haven't been out there just to give you guys or just check up on it ourselves. So we're just going to go out there and see what's going on, and then we'll get right back and just get straight back to work.
that's how it's done right there.
I've always wanted to do that, man.
Man, that's how the movies are made right there. Them classicals.
That's how they make it look like. It looks super easy, but you gotta cut it out first.
Dude, that was like an Evil Knievel stunt or something right there. That was wild, dude. That's something that needed to be done. That's how you work on these cars right here.
That's how you work. You gotta just push stuff out of the way just to get to where you're going right here. And we popped this windshield out because it's cracked in the first place, but we're gonna be working on in this area right here.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're basically just gonna chop this whole entire roof off right here.
We may chop it off right here. It just depends on how badly damaged this is, because we can splice this anywhere, honestly.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
true. And also, we did end up going to the commercial shop where the new Goon Squad garage is gonna be, or is getting built right now. You guys noticed a little bit of the foundation going up.
So they're building up block on basically around the whole perimeter, because one side was the dirt. They had to dig the dirt super low because of the way that dirt was over there. So they're gonna have to build it up with block, and then they're gonna pour gravel in there, and then they're gonna pour the pad.
Yeah,
so we're just watching that process. Super cool. Finally getting to see some more progress at the shop, because I mean, once that pad is poured, dude, it's metal building from now on.
It's a game changer. Everything is gonna go fast from there. But anyways, that was just a quick little update. But here we got the front windshield out. Already ordered a new one for like $300 or something like that. So are we just gonna go ahead and move on to the rear one, or what do you say?
I mean, since we're moving windshields out right now, we can possibly go ahead and pop this one out as well, because to cut this quarter panel and splice it in, we're gonna need this rear glass out anyway. So I say we pop this one out as well, and then we'll move on to some panels.
Alrighty guys, so it is actually the next day here, and we just got straight to work this morning and popped off a structural piece.
Dude,
man.
just popped off this Cowl end cap right here, which I guess this is a crunch point whenever this car gets sideswiped or something like that, which is just a good thing because you can actually pop this thing off. Our original one is just all mangled up and stuff like that.
It sure did crunch,
Dude,
didn't it?
It definitely did. It saved the actual cowl itself and the firewall, which is a good thing right there. And dude, that thing was pretty difficult trying to find all the spot welds because it is an old car, so like the spot welds are all covered up in all kinds of stuff, dude.
Were you thinking that this piece was possibly replaced before? Is that what it looked like?
Honestly, at first it looked like it was damaged a little bit at the top, and they kind of fixed it and straightened it out. They didn't replace the whole piece because these are all original spot welds right here. And also I did notice that whenever they did like fix it over here, they did the same thing. They covered up the seam. There's supposed to be a seam where this thing welds to, and they smoothed like this whole firewall out,
with
dude.
body filler. So they did this seam delete, which is actually pretty clean because I mean you don't see any of the seams. It almost looks like the body is just like one total piece.
You see that seam right there?
Yeah.
It's supposed to go all the way throughout, but they actually like did some body work, or they did some kind of seam seal. I don't know if that's original, but that's body work right there. There was like a weld right here, definitely not factory. I think somebody actually like fixed it at one point back in the day, dude.
Hey, I think we're gonna do the exact same thing, just cover up those seams. I think it's gonna look so much cleaner.
Dude, especially once you get it all like painted or finished up, dude, it's gonna look super clean.
Yes,
dude.
sir. But we're not gonna be able to pop that piece on just yet, but go ahead and mock it up. Look at that, dude.
It's just gonna slide up in there, but as you can tell, this piece over here that we're gonna be swapping out as well is bent in all types of ways. So we're gonna have to get this piece to probably do it in the next video, cut this whole entire side off, which is just gonna be crazy. May have to put like like some support
rods,
because whenever we cut this off, I think the car will flex a little bit. But before we even weld it on, we're definitely gonna put it in its original spot.
Definitely, and we're gonna replace this piece all the way from the bottom here, and maybe like splice it halfway, a little bit taller. We'll figure that out a little bit later there.
Yeah.
Another cool thing about this car is the dash, man.
Dude, oh yeah, dude, I totally forgot. This thing is part of the cowl itself, so the dash is part of the car, dude, which is super cool, dude.
Dude, these things are indeed built different, and you know what? I'm loving every little bit of it, man.
I'm definitely loving it. This is a complete different ball game with any other car. You're replacing panel by, like, they even have instructions at the dealership how to replace this. But this stuff right here, honestly, you can even find everything on YouTube how to replace most of these parts.
Exactly, because this car is so fairly old. You know, it's a 67, so people already been done this right here,
so
man.
there's tons of information out there, so we are not alone. We can just hop on the YouTube and figure this stuff out.
Exactly, but we're not gonna do any more work on this Camaro for now. What we're gonna work on is actually ordering parts, and where are we gonna hop into right now, dude?
We're gonna hop into Tesla over here because it's the 21st century, man. This is how you order parts now. This is basically a big old computer right here. We're gonna go ahead and pop up the internet and probably jump on the Holley website and just collect a big old like list of everything that we need to get this LT swap going. So let's hop in there and see what we can come up with.
Alrighty guys, so we're sitting here in the Tesla scrolling through the Holley website where there is just a ton of information on the LT4 engine to get it swapped into that Camaro right there. I mean, it's pretty much straightforward. They have everything that we need to order. And also as far as the standalone ECU, I think we're actually gonna use the ECU from that car that's on the donor car because there's not too much information as far as the standalone ECUs for the LT4. I know they got it for the LT1, but I think we're just gonna retain all the stock stuff there and that shouldn't be too big of a deal. But we're basically just gonna go ahead and order all that stuff. That way we can have that stuff on the way. In the meantime, we're gonna continue with the body of this car. And as you guys seen, we're already tackling it and we know exactly what it's gonna take. It's gonna be a good bit of work, but you know what? I think we got it under control. But you guys are gonna have to stay tuned for that. Make sure your post notifications are on so you don't miss out on anything. And if you guys want an inside scoop before YouTube, definitely give us a follow on Instagram at goonzquad. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for all the love and support. Be sure to drop your comments and thoughts down below. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.